Hey guys, it's Ryan here with Blockchain Markets, and today I'm gonna talk with the co-founders of Tenzorum. So welcome, Moritz, and welcome, Daniel.
Hi,
thanks a lot, man.
As I was talking to you guys before the interview, then from the Blockchain Markets community, there was a lot of interest in Tenzorum. Also, I think it's because of the everybody's knowledgeable about cryptocurrencies, and I guess they have had many of them the problem of key management. Yes. It is something that everybody that is in the blockchain space and the cryptocurrencies space has had. So I think like to start, if you guys can introduce yourselves, and then we just jump more into the project itself.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. You
yeah. So yeah, I'm Daniel, as you welcomed me. So thanks for having me and having us present Tenzorum, I guess. Basically, we started Tenzorum about half a year ago. My background was I came to Australia as a PhD student in quantum computing, and then started the Bitforward community, which is open source blockchain community based in Sydney, and now already with partnerships in both Europe, China, and any other some projects and stuff like that. And during the time doing that and doing some consulting with banking sector and other stuff, I met this bearded magician, and everything since then has changed and basically accelerated. And I leave it for Moritz to present the rest.
That's a new one. Bearded magician is a new one. All right. So yeah, my background is also in engineering. I came around 3 years ago here, supposedly to study, but what happened is that I went really heavy into the whole startup ecosystem, into the whole entrepreneurship and innovation kind of environment. And I decided that, look, I had to see how people were really doing big stuff all over the world. I realized that, look, to understand how to do the best that we can do, we have to see what the best is doing. Mm-hmm. So first I went to Silicon Valley. I received an opportunity to stay in Stanford for a while doing an entrepreneurship program there. And really was like really mind-blowing to see how people were doing business there, the speed and their innovation and the frameworks to achieve like a good startup and everything. And on Stanford was the first place where I heard the word blockchain. All right. And when I was there, I met a Chinese dude who became a really good friend of mine, who invited me to go to a similar program in Hangzhou in China. So we basically flew from Stanford to Hangzhou. And if Stanford was crazy, if Silicon Valley was good, like China was completely like next level thing. Like the speed of the deals, the way the people were doing business, like the Chinese way in general, you know, like of really speed is about breaking things, about like there's no barrier, you know, it's like how you kind of go forward. That's basically how it works there. And that really inspired me. And if in Stanford was blockchain, in China was crypto. That's the word that I heard first in China. And then I went back to Australia, and I was looking in my ecosystem who was like really playing hardcore into the whole development system, into the whole like, all right, what is this exactly thing? Met Daniel. We made Bitforward community a global community. We have partners in all over the world. We like have some of our content, some of the things that we build to the people in the community rank above Ethereum for like how to issue a token. If you look on Google, it's our tutorial that is there. If you look how to do an ICO, it's our tutorial that is there, above TechCrunch, above Ethereum, and really conscious about not only technology side, but about how to make this technology accessible to people. You know, that's the core differentiation point of the things that we always do. It's like, look, amazing, you have like this really cool potential on technology. If people don't use it, in the end of the day, there's no value there. You know, it's all about how many people you can make use it, how many people can get value out of it. And from working inside the community, we realized, look, we have this core problem that doesn't enable people to access the decentralized world, because the decentralized experience in itself starts by your keys, all right? That's the access to everything. So we decided, look, we have to fix this. If we want like to the next 100 million people to come into the blockchain, to feel the way we felt when we did the first transaction with Bitcoin, like knowing that there was no middle term, There was no middleman. There was no like central authority. There was like literally a peer-to-peer transaction. We have to fix this. We have like to enable like the middle kind of class of people that join the thing to understand and to have something that like they can touch, they can like deal with it. Yeah. So that's where the idea of Tenzorum came about.
Yeah, that's a very interesting concept, because I think like for everybody also in the community, I think that that's something that you see a lot. And then also when I started with blockchain markets, was with that idea to try to explain things in an easy way, so then other people that are not into crypto or blockchain at the moment can also understand it and start using cryptocurrencies. But then there is a stumble. Then you keep on like having the same problems on the usability side of things and the risks also. So then with I think that's one part that is really interesting, and then we can discuss more in depth, of course, about Tenzorum. That it is, of course, that everybody that is involved into cryptocurrencies and in blockchain as well is still a very small and very niche group, and we would love to see also then the masses to use it. But yeah, as you said, there are some problems like the risks. Even if you look back, even the most like techie people that went like at the very beginning of Bitcoin, they also lost their private keys and they lost a lot of funds. So then
not even there,
yeah. So
like there's people losing crypto cats now, Cryptokitties.
Yeah, exactly.
We met the founder of Cryptokitties, and he said, look, we really interested in a solution like Tenzorum because there's many people losing many kitties, all right? And these kitties are now worth like a lot of money. And you're completely right. Like what Tenzorum is basically it's a key management protocol, and what we're trying to create is decentralized access, all right? So if by one hand we had like the Bitcoin network that gave us like peer-to-peer money, the concept was kind of extended to peer-to-peer computing power, all right, with Ethereum, with all the smart contract platforms. But the access to these platforms right now are actually centralized, all right? Like dApps who sold for millions of dollars the idea of like creating this decentralized dream, this decentralized ecosystem, are actually using centralized solutions to manage your user keys, all right? And this is insane. This completely defeats the purpose of what we're trying to create here, of like the dream that you sold. And they are aware of that. And that's basically where the power of the centralized access came from. Because if we can enable the like, look, I'm not only interacting with a decentralized smart contract platform, all right, a service in itself, but my access in itself, my user, my keys, everything is decentralized from the ground up. That's like next level in terms of like what you can provide in terms of accessibility and in terms of even the philosophy of creating the centralized world.
Yeah, that's and so for what I've been reading on your website, there are like several things that you are focusing on. So you saw, for example, that there was like this technological friction. The risks are too high, the user experience have been completely neglected.
Absolutely true.
There are no integrations at all. Now there are many silos as well. So if you can explain what for like non-technical people, what would be the Tenzorum approach to those problems?
So basically building up on where we started. If there was Bitcoin as peer-to-peer electronic cash, then the concept got extended to smart contract and compute. Afterwards, the thing is that now all of the ways that we are, as a simple user, a mass consumer, I want to use a dApp, I want to use some kind of blockchain service. To interact with it, the entire experience is very fragmented. And what we're doing is extending this concept of peer-to-peer to access. So I can basically choose what kind of network or service I'm accessing, whether it's a dApp on Ethereum or a wallet on Nebulas, which is a very fast-growing Chinese project, or an interoperability play like Ion or anything. The idea is that everything from the user's perspective is, I just want access. I just want to interact with either a smart contract or a key or something. At the back end, what's happening is that those keys have to be signing a transaction, signing a message, and then you're logging into, say, a dApp or something. all that is being abstracted with Tenzorum. We're basically starting off by giving the user a way to not being concerned about dealing with a complicated key and like having to store it there. And basically at the front end, it's all very, very optimized and user-friendly. And you can benefit from all these peer-to-peer economy products. At the back end, the protocols and the software is what basically takes care of that. This is kind of the high-level way of thinking about it.
Yeah. So yeah, basically we have this whole ecosystem of extremes, okay? Whereas, or you have to be insane and paranoid, where you get your keys, you put on in some kind of lock, you send to Siberia, all right? And you have the other extreme where you actually put your keys on WordPress, on Word, right? Or some kind of like your notepad. And look, we can blame people and say, look, we told you that you should not put on Word, all right? We told you that you should not do this. But look, man, like, it's in the end of the day, it's our fault, you know, like it's not their fault. That's what I mean, because people will do what they are like, not what they used to do, all right? And the second, like they're gonna do
what's available.
Exactly what's available, what they can have a decent experience. If I'm access all the time some kind of wallet, I need this key all the time. And how bad is the experience to go to get Siberia, open the log, get the 64 random character key and put there, or like type everything. Like we should not train users to type their keys, because that's not how you do it. You know, what you have to do is
you're frozen, but
yeah, it's frozen.
Right. Cool. So basically we have this infrastructure layer where we're creating from the ground up the protocols to support this kind of experience on multi-ledger, all right? And to support all these steps to kind of feed into Tenzorum protocol to provide decentralized access. And we have on the other side, the kind of application layer. It's what we call Tenzorum Suite, where we have a series of applications that we're going to launch really soon that will already give this kind of feeling to the users, right? They will give like to kind of feel this mass market threshold. And one of these products is the Decentralized Key Manager. Man, 1 second, man.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I have to get going. So
right.
I'll say bye. I'll trust my bearded.
Save more pizza for me. Bye. All right. So basically, we have like this layer, these products like on the Tenzorum Suite. The first one is the Decentralized Key Manager. All right. So what the idea is, like, you guys know, most of people know LastPass, or somehow like the idea of user password. And what you're trying to create is a decentralized version of that. That if you want to access, let's say, Cryptokitties or some kind of gaming nebulas or some kind of app on Aeon, all you have to do is go through this platform, select the dApp, and you're already logged in. All right, there's no private key management. Everything is already there. And if you think about the powerful thing is that, look, on the Web 2.0, a key manager in itself, it's a really cool thing to have, but it's not a painkiller. All right, it's a vitamin, what we call. It's something that it's good to have. It's not something that changed the game. But on the blockchain, on the Web 3.0, since the experience of accessing things is so bad, all right, like it's so painful, so hard, the idea of creating a decentralized key manager that provides like the right level of security and the right level of accessibility is completely game changing. All right, it basically allows people to look, I don't have to care anymore even which is my private key, because my private key is actually stored on my phone, you know. And I don't even have to see this key. What I have to know is that when I scan the QR code, I can actually access this thing, make the login, everything, and I'm already there. You know, that's the experience that we provide. And the second product that we're already working on is what we call IPAS. It's called Interplanetary Access System. All right. Basically, what we're creating is an API to allow dApps to leverage all the infrastructure layer from Tenzorum and kind of plug it in the access to the users. So instead of like the people building the whole kind of key management mechanism or like using some kind of centralized database, they're basically going to be able to just pull Tenzorum API and connect into the mechanism.
Oh, that's very interesting, because then adds a lot of new users or people actually using the technology.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting. I think like also the other thing that maybe we can discuss as well is like you guys have like 3 concepts that are interesting. The concept of like secret sharing, the web of trust, and public utilities. Maybe we can talk a bit more.
That's a good one. All of them are great ones. So the first one, right? Secret sharing. Secret sharing, we studying a lot into the mechanisms that we're going to use to actually store these keys into this network, all right? Because we're basically creating a whole protocol from the ground up, a whole network infrastructure. And the way it works, secret sharing, the algorithm that we're working with is called Shamir secret sharing. What happens is you have a key or a secret for the sake of it. You apply this algorithm, it breaks down this key or this secret in many, many pieces. It encrypts it and it spreads across the network, all right? And to recover the secret, you need K out of N, being both K and N customizable, all right? So you dynamically customize. You can choose how many pieces you want to recreate the secret. So let's go to the next one. Then I'll explain how everything play together. Then we have Web of Trust, all right? Web of Trust is actually one of the most powerful concepts that we're dealing here. It's basically your crypto version of friends list, all right? But instead of only, let's say, I add you as my friend, I actually verify your keys, all right? So I actually see, like, this guy is Ryan, all right? I see his keys, and you say, this guy is Moritz. And then we verify each other. This creates a new layer in terms of integrity for the network, social integrity and technology integrity, because you're not going to verify some spam keys, all right? Because it's spam. Yeah. That's the core aspect, all right? And so this creates this integrity layer. And it's not a new concept. It's a really really well-known concept, and we're basically attaching some incentive mechanism towards it. And basically the way that these both concepts work together is that we use the Web of Trust as your backup system. Instead of like storing this thing in some kind of database, centralized database, what we're using is we encrypted these fragments with the public address from your Web of Trust, right? From people that you actually trust, from people that you believe. And then we spread randomly across the network. So if you came to the catastrophic moment where you actually need these keys back, your Web of Trust has to vouch for you. They have to say, yeah, this guy is Ryan. This guy lost his keys. I trust him. And you actually have to generate a payment, all right? So it's not something that you're going to do to try like to screw them over, all right? You have to actually, there's a disincentive for you to do that randomly, all right? Randomically. You actually have to generate a payment. And that's basically how you recover your keys in the end of the day, all right? Okay. And this is the thing. And the idea of public utility, and this is probably the most important thing of all this talk, is that what we're trying to create here is, and we make this really clear, like in the first sentence of our project, is it's unstoppable machine, all right? Meaning that if it's an unstoppable machine, it has to be something by its own. We have to create our own economy. And that's basically our goal. What we're trying to create is a token economy around the centralized access. And if on the centralized world, we have like product market fit, all right? What we call here is token market fit, all right? The idea is that we're not trying to bootstrap a service, all right? Or we're trying to acquire users. It's much more deep than that. You're trying to bootstrap a whole ecosystem, all right? You have to put the users, you have to put the traders, you have to put the newbies, you have to put the Bitcoin maximalists, you have to put everybody on Ethereum, on Nebulas, on Aeon, everybody together to provide this decentralized access, all right? And everybody has to have stake in the end of the day. But I'm not talking even about technology stake, I'm talking about ownership about it, right? The idea that, ownership. Yeah. Because the idea is that, look, we can go to expand the idea that, look, into the centralized world, the value on the decentralized world, according to what we believe, our idea is that the value increases much more as much more people are involved, all right? That's the core idea. Decentralization is the value in its own, meaning that we have, for example, like what are the most successful projects out there, right? If you look like on really scale term, like in really, what is the biggest projects who change in more the ecosystem? Look, it's Ethereum somehow, you know? Yeah. Ethereum, Nebulas, like these big boys that are playing like where everybody's kind of building on. And why is that? And the answer for why is that is because there's ownership of many, many people, all right? They're not trying to bootstrap a service. They're not trying to bootstrap a dApp in itself. They're trying to bootstrap a crypto economy. And that's the model that we're following, all right? We're fully decentralized. We're building everything open source. And what we're trying to is like to give this to people in the idea that eventually the ecosystem will not rely on us, right? It will not rely on Tenzorum Foundation. Will not rely on Moritz. Will not rely on Daniel. It will rely on its own. You know, people will really need this. We really want this, and we want to have a stake of it. That's as well, just to add, why we're thinking really heavily on how to integrate masternodes into our network. All right, because the idea that we can decentralize governance in its own, like for example, Dash works. It's something that really aligns with our proposal, you know, and there's a lot of research going through that. It's funny because, look, everybody has many questions, all right? And we are really honest in the sense, like, we don't have all the answers. We just know what elements have to be part of the answers, all right? Yeah. We know that centralization has to be part of the answer. We know that somehow privacy has to be part of the answer. We know the self-sovereign has to be part of the answer. And we're trying to like stitch all these pieces together to give the best answer possible. But like, there's many specifics that that's about what the project is, you know, it's about finding what's the specifics and creating. But it's funny because we're really realistic about it. Like, we're really like, all right, we don't have all the answers. We're trying to put all these things together. There's many answers that we have. There's many answers that we don't have. And that's, I think, is the challenge, you know, how to communicate this. Because we're not going to say that, look, oh, we're going to bootstrap this network tomorrow, like many projects do. It's like, what, man? You have to create a whole ecosystem if you want like this to be real, you know? It's a long process. It's like a lot of work to have to be done. You have like to really inspire the whole community, you know, towards something bigger, towards creating decentralized access. It's not something that like, I remember this ICO who was like, all right, we have testnet in 1 week, and then we have mainnet in 2 weeks, and then on the third week, we don't have to work anymore, you know?
It's released and then, okay.
Exactly, like, whoa, that's not how you do it, man.
I think that's something, it's a very interesting approach. And of course, it goes like through the very core of what blockchain and open source is. It's more like, we don't know all the answers, but we want to create basically a community that that builds it together. So I think one interesting thing there is, of course, the how the community gets to vote for eventual changes, and how would that work in the ecosystem that you have in mind for Tenzorum? It's more like based on a stake, or
yeah. So right now, actually, it's really good questions, because look, we created one of the biggest Australian communities, the biggest Australian community. And everything, all of our ethos is of things to the community, all right? We're running this event here, and I can even like show you later more people saying hi or something like this. It would be funny. But the idea is that, look, everything that we build is to the community. We're really careful about, look, it's about, at the end of the day, diversity, all right? As they say, like, we're trying to bootstrap a whole crypto ecosystem. To bootstrap a whole crypto ecosystem, you need traders, you need developers, you need a lot of developers, you need people who are engaged with the problem in itself, you have to have people who are engaged with the solution, you have to work with other projects, because if you're not, you're just building an island, and that's what most of actually identity projects are doing. Like I see in the ecosystem, everybody is launching or a blockchain, all right, or some kind of identity solution. It's like, for me, like, look, you're building roads and roads and roads, and you actually not put cars there, all right? You're not putting things there. Our approach is actually the opposite, right? And basically what we're creating is many cars. And then after we have many cars, we're going to feed into this road. All right. So then it's going to make sense, basically. And the idea is that, first, it's an open source community. So everybody's welcome. Okay. That's how it plays since day one. Everybody's welcome to contribute somehow. And in terms of like technology in itself, the token is really, really important, like to access the decentralized services, to have the whole decentralized ecosystem. And the way we're looking is that, look, the way we organize it, there's many things about ideas about staking, about airdrops, and, you know, like to feed into the stake, many ideas into burning, many ideas into contribution. But what we want to guarantee is, one, that people who contribute to the project and to the ecosystem are rewarded, all right? And people who somehow increase and the growth and build on top of things are rewarded, all right? And this is like from the ground up. This is not even about code in itself, all right? This is about like recognition of like, look, we're building this thing together, and that's the idea. Like, it's what we call mafia, all right? actually. Like we're building this mafia, right? The mafia who wants to create the centralized access. And everybody who somehow like are with us, working with us, like building things with us, supporting, will be rewarded to do that. And that's basically the idea from the community side.
Yeah, that's a very interesting approach. I think now that we're moving towards the end of the interview, maybe we can discuss a bit of the roadmap, where you guys at the moment, and then we can like the short-term roadmap for the next quarters this year, and then the big picture over long-term view.
That's a perfect question. So basically, the way we work, we have two verticals of work, as I said, right? One is the infrastructure layer, the network side, and the other one is the Tenzorum suite, the products that we're going to feed to the market, mostly based on Ethereum, on Nebulas, or on Aeon. And what happens is that we understand that we have to build a lot of cars to feed into our road, right? Being our road, the infrastructure, being the cars, the products. So we're going to keep releasing products because we already like have many ideas of products that will dramatically increase the usability and the user experience. And this will happen like from the next month, all right? In the next couple of weeks, we're going to release our demo. Our first user testing actually already happening. There's already integration with more than one ledger, which is like completely mind-blowing for the ecosystem. And this will keep releasing these products. And at the same time, and this is a short-term development cycle, all right? Meaning that it's literally about product building, all right? We build things, we understand, we iterate, we launch again and again and again and again. And there's many things, like our developer, like he's the first person who built a transaction signature through push-up notifications. Meaning, let's say you click a button on, let's say I want to buy this thing with Bitcoin. And then since you have Tenzorum Chrome extension or so, the system feeds into your wallet and you receive a push notification. You want to buy this? And then you click yes, and you bought it. You know, there's no, that's it. And this is like, damn, that's so cool. You know, it's so cool to see that because you have like a familiar experience using the crypto economy, you know, and like that's completely mind blowing. And we also have the Decentralized key manager. We're going to release some videos soon. And there's all these products coming along in the next couple months, all right? On the other side, we have infrastructure, right? Infrastructure, as I said, being extremely honest, like it's a lot of research, right? It's a lot of research to understand what kind of consensus algorithm, what kind of like, what exactly are the stake of the nodes that the nodes have to have it, what kind of like activity are the nodes executing, what kind of computing power you have to kind of assess to provide this kind of service and this kind of like activity to the network. And this is a much longer cycle. We're looking into testnet next year, for sure, not this year, because we really, this year, focus on really feeding the market on the needs that the market has right now and the whole community has right now. And that's in terms of product. In terms of community, we actually having this year several what we call blockathons, all right? We have one a few weeks ago in Beijing, which was amazing. There was more than 150 developers. And what we're doing, like, we believe that the way to go about in terms of community building, you have to go to the ground up, right? In the sense that you have to be really, really deep into developer communities. That's the core game changer that everybody's looking for. And this is what we have been doing for the last 3 years. So we believe we understand how to do this, all right? So we're creating these events, which are somehow it's even more than a hackathon in itself. It's like an event when people get together to talk about blockchain, to literally build things together, all right? It's really, really cool. And we're basically gonna do several of these events all over the world, in India, in Singapore, in China again, in Japan, in South Korea, and in Australia. And the feedback has been really, really good around the things we're building. It's creating a lot of visibility, a lot of awareness, and bringing a lot of people to the understanding of like, really, we're really trying to create something good here to the whole community. And that has been the kind of core thing around Tenzorum. And in terms of landscape, basically that's it. We have product, we have community, and that's our main focus right now. That's the main focus of our development.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting to know. Like so many things happening in the short term as well. Yeah,
so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny as well. Look, our community is now around 8,000 people on Telegram, right? Which is, in the end of the day, is a vanity metric. but we really care about having people engage with us, you know. And people ask, all right, so how you do it? How you get 8,000 people? What's the formula? And the formula that we got is like $0 to spend on marketing. Let's just like really build good things, you know. Let's look, we're really building a cool thing. We're really building something that will like solve a core problem in the ecosystem. And we believe this is what we would need, like, to kind of bring this community together, you know. So that was our strategy. Like literally, like we were invited to Consensus last month to present there, and we had 300 people in the Telegram channel, right, into our community. And after that was like basically butterfly effect, that whoa, these guys are really building something that will change the whole ecosystem, that will onboard the next 100 million people to the blockchain. Like, I want to be part of it, you know. And this is the whole idea. Like, we want to give people the feeling that we got when we interact the first time with Bitcoin or with Ethereum or something like this.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, because then there's so many. So we said at the beginning of the conversation, this is which everybody that talks and cares about blockchain is a very small group still. So if we want to bring that to the next 100 million people to use it,
exactly. Some people ask us, all right, what's your total addressable market? And we always find this question really funny, because I feel this is the wrong question, all right? Because right now we have 20 million people using cryptocurrencies in the world. That's nothing, you know. It's virtually not. 6 million are in China, and that's virtually nothing. So the question is not like how we make these people use your wallet, or how do we make these people use your dApp, or how do we make these people transact your coin? No, the question is, how do we onboard the next 100 million people? You know, that's the question that you have to make. That's the kind of solutions that you have to work on. That's what's going to change the industry, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we're trying to achieve. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, at least from my point of view, like the most interesting and the most exciting thing to analyze and to talk about. That then not how we're going to change the next months, but what's the big picture, like how we're going to onboard like this huge that we cannot even think about how big it is at the moment. You're right. I mean, when people try to put that in numbers, it's just like probably we'll just be short anyway, like any idea that we have in our heads at the moment.
Exactly.
So with that said, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to blockchain market community. And
let me put here for everybody.
Sure.
Say something. Yeah, I don't know how deep they are into the conversations, but it's funny. It's just like for you to give a check on the whole thing. I don't think that would put you. Say hi, man. It's we're in the middle of an AMA.
Oh, hello.
Hi, guys.
It's Ryan from Twitter. Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, cool. That's it, man.
Cool.
It is, right?
All
right.
Well, really nice. So great conversation, and I hope you the best in the upcoming challenge.
Thanks a lot
for Tenzorum.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye, guys.
And bye-bye, everybody on the blockchain markets community. Cheers. Bye-bye.